It was a quiet, desolate road, surrounded by dry grass and scattered debris. The air was still, heavy with silence, broken only by faint rustling in the brush. Lying on the cracked pavement was a mother dog, her frail body curled against the cold ground. Her fur, once likely soft and vibrant, was now matted and dull, clinging to her bony frame. She didn't move, her breathing shallow and labored, as if every breath was a struggle she could barely endure. Around her, 4 tiny puppies huddled close, their small bodies trembling. They were too young to understand the gravity of the situation, but their instincts told them something was wrong. The smallest of the group, a cream-colored pup with striking blue eyes, stood slightly apart, his gaze fixed forward, as if searching for something unseen. His soft whimpers broke the silence, a quiet plea that echoed into the emptiness. The other 3 puppies pressed closer to their mother. One, black as midnight, nuzzled her side gently, trying to rouse her, but there was no response. Another, speckled white and black, licked at her face, his tiny tail wagging weakly in an attempt to comfort her. The last pup, pale and timid, curled into the warmth of her fur, as if trying to draw strength from her still body. But there was little strength left to give. The scene was one of quiet desperation. Their ribs were faintly visible beneath their soft fur, a clear sign of hunger and neglect. Their tiny paws shuffled uncertainly on the rough pavement, too weak to wander far. They needed their mother, but she had given all she could. She lay still, eyes barely open, her body too exhausted to move or respond. Her only sign of life was the faint rise and fall of her chest, as if she were holding on for the sake of her pups. The surroundings offered no comfort. The road stretched endlessly in both directions, deserted and unforgiving. The grass that bordered the pavement was dry and lifeless, swaying slightly in the breeze, but offering no food, no water, no shelter. The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows that seemed to deepen the sense of isolation. The puppies, so small and fragile, were alone in a world that seemed to have forgotten them. The cream-colored pup stepped forward again, his movements hesitant but determined. His blue eyes scanned the horizon, his tiny nose twitching as he tried to pick up any scent of hope. He turned back to his siblings, letting out a soft bark that seemed more like a question than a command. The others lifted their heads momentarily, their eyes reflecting the same quiet plea for help, but they didn't follow. They stayed close to their mother, unwilling to leave her side. Time seemed to stretch endlessly, the minutes dragging on as the family remained in their fragile state. The puppies' cries grew softer, their energy fading with each passing moment. The mother dog, though still, seemed to sense their presence, her body tensing slightly as one of them nudged her again. It was a small movement, almost imperceptible, but enough to show that she was still fighting, holding on for them. The black and white pup, his fur speckled like shadows on snow, glanced upward as if drawn by some unseen force. His dark eyes, so full of innocence, seemed to focus on something beyond the road, beyond the immediate struggle. He let out a low, soft whine, a sound that carried a weight far beyond his tiny frame. It was a sound that spoke of longing, of hope, and of the unspoken bond between a mother and her children. In the distance, the faint sound of rustling leaves broke the stillness. The puppies didn't notice at first, their small forms too engrossed in their desperate attempts to comfort their mother. But the cream-colored pup, always watchful, turned his head sharply, his ears perking up. His blue eyes widened, and for the first time, there was a glimmer of something new, anticipation. The faint rustling grew louder, and soon, footsteps approached the fragile family. The puppies stirred, their small bodies tensing in uncertainty. A human figure knelt beside them, careful and deliberate. The stranger's presence brought a mix of fear and curiosity to the puppies. They instinctively huddled closer to their mother, who remained motionless, too weak to react. A gentle voice broke the tension, speaking softly as if to reassure them. The stranger extended a hand, holding a small container of water. The black puppy, the boldest of the group, took hesitant steps forward, sniffing cautiously before lapping up the water with urgency. The others followed, their initial hesitation giving way to desperate thirst. The stranger placed the container down, allowing them to drink freely while their wary eyes darted between the human and their mother. Turning attention to the mother dog, the stranger carefully examined her. She was in worse condition than expected. Her body was limp, her breathing shallow, and her once bright eyes barely opened. The stranger gently lifted her head, pouring a small amount of water near her mouth. For a moment, it seemed like there would be no response. Then, slowly, her tongue moved, weakly lapping at the water. It was a tiny sign of life, but enough to inspire hope. The puppies, sensing the change, grew more animated. Their tails wagged faintly as they gathered around their mother, nudging her gently. The stranger continued to speak softly, offering soothing words that, though incomprehensible to the animals, carried a warmth that transcended language. The bond between the mother and her puppies was evident, and the stranger's actions reflected a deep understanding of their plight. Carefully, the stranger wrapped the mother dog in a soft blanket brought along for emergencies. The puppies whimpered softly, unsure of what was happening, but the stranger's gentle demeanor kept them calm. One by one, the puppies were gathered and placed alongside their mother in a safe, makeshift bed in the stranger's vehicle. The mother stirred slightly, her head turning toward her puppies as if to reassure them, even in her weakened state. The drive to safety was quiet, with the puppies curling up next to their mother in the blanket. Occasionally, one would lift its head to look around, their wide eyes taking in the unfamiliar surroundings. The mother, though still frail, seemed more at ease, her breathing steadier now. It was as if she knew her little family was finally out of danger. They arrived at a local shelter, where staff immediately sprang into action. The mother was taken to a quiet area for medical attention, while the puppies were given warm milk and soft bedding. Their tails wagged with more energy now, their playful spirits slowly returning as they explored their new environment. The mother, after being examined and treated, was placed in a cozy, quiet space where she could rest and recover. Despite her exhaustion, her eyes followed her puppies closely, her maternal instincts unbroken even in her weakest moments. Days passed, and the family began to heal. The mother's strength returned, her coat regaining some of its softness and shine. She walked with newfound energy, keeping a watchful eye on her playful pups as they tumbled and barked around her. Each of them showed their unique personality, the boldness of the black pup, the curiosity of the black and white one, the timid but observant nature of the cream-colored puppy, and the gentle demeanor of the smallest. Their transformation was remarkable, a testament to the power of compassion. The once desperate family now radiated joy and vitality, their bond stronger than ever. They had been given a second chance, not only to survive but to thrive. The story ended with a simple but profound message. Sometimes, all it takes to save a life is to stop, notice, and care. These 4 puppies and their brave mother were living proof that even the smallest acts of kindness could change lives forever.